everyone. So it's 4:05 already, sorry, and you can the time up. Okay, so we are going to start the program now while others join us as we continue with the program. My name is Odola Adebi, and I'm so happy to see everybody today. It's really nice seeing that people are turning up for this program. So not to waste so much time because we have just 1 hour for this program, I'm going to go straight and tell you a little bit about Bioinforma, the initiative that is actually organizing this webinar, and I will tell you a little bit about the webinar too. So Bioinforma actually came into existence in January 2024, that's January 10th. And this initiative is actually aimed at empowering young people, especially women in STEM, by demonstrating how simple it is to actually do bioinformatics data analysis. Because we all know that a lot of people find bioinformatics very difficult. But in today's research world, research is tending toward that side. People are making use of bioinformatic tools a lot when it comes to biological related research. So it's a skill that is very important that researchers need to learn nowadays. So our aim at Bioinforma is to actually help people to learn this skill very fast and in a very simple way. But we also realize that as much as it's important to learn the skill, to know the theory, it's very, very difficult because it's not just easy to learn this skill, especially if you are coming from a different field. If you don't have background in tech, you don't have any background in coding, people always find it difficult to navigate through bioinformatics. So we think it would be very nice to have people that have passed through this path come and discuss, share their experience, how they successfully move into bioinformatics field. And that's why we came up with the My Story in Bioinformatics webinar series. And luckily, this is the pioneer edition of My Story in Bioinformatics. And today we are going to be having two amazing female bioinformaticians that are going to be sharing their story with us. And I'm very sure that you can't wait to hear their story because they have really, really unique stories to share. So we have to speak out who are Miss Tomi Jacobs from University of Illinois in Chicago, and Mrs. Chisom Soremekun from Makerere University in Uganda. So we are going to have Miss Tomi Jacobs first, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about her. Then she's going to give us our presentation. Okay, just a minute. So Ms. Tomi is actually a computational biologist, and she has extensive experience in using bioinformatic tools and statistical models. She has a MSc in plant genetics and bioinformatics from Cornell University. And right now she's doing a PhD also in computational biology at the University of Illinois in Chicago. And our research is actually focusing on using mathematical algorithm and software development for inference from large genomic data set in phylogenetics and transcriptomics space. So we are going to be having her, she's going to be telling us her story, how she found herself where she is today. So Miss Tomi, are you in the house?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, it's nice to hear your voice.
Thank you very much.
Yes. So we like to have your presentation. We like to hear you speak, and we hope you're going to really learn much from you today.
Thank you. Thank you.
So I'm going to stop sharing my slides so that you can go ahead and share.
Okay. So can everyone see my screen?
Yes, I can see your screen. Okay.
Okay. Thank you. So I know I have 17 minutes. Yeah, so I want to keep to time. Okay. Hi everyone. Thank you all for making it to my story in bioinformatics. Thank you all for having me. My name is Tomi Jacobs, and like I've been introduced, I'm currently a PhD student in the field of computational biology at the University of Illinois, Chicago. Okay, let's get started. So my presentation outline, I'll be walking you through a brief background, my career pickup, what I call my career pickup, like, when I think my career picked up, my career flow from the time it picked up, where I am right now in my career presently, and my career prospects. Okay, so let's start with the background. Firstly, I'm from Kwara State, Nigeria, in Western Africa. So most of the time here, when you tell people like, oh, I'm from Nigeria, the first thing they say is, oh, you're from Lagos, right? Because, people know Lagos, like it's like the New York of Nigeria. And I'm like, no, I'm not from Lagos. I'm from Kwara State. So I have to do this a lot of times. So I've learned to show the map of Nigeria and show exactly where I'm from. So I like to also, because a lot of people, when I tell them like, my name is Tomi Jacobs, they're like, really, are you from Nigeria? Like, how come you're bearing Jacobs? Okay, anyways, Jacobs is my last name, but my birth name is Oluwatomisin and my middle name is Esther. So, I mean, I know I'm speaking to mostly Nigerian people, but anyways, Oluwa means God, Tomi means enough for me, and the same part of it means to serve. So I'm from a very Christian background, and my full name is actually Oluwatomisin. God is enough for me to serve. But I just go with Tomi Jacobs now. So after my high school, I studied plant biology in the University of Ilorin, Nigeria. I studied plant biology for 4 years, and it's a very wide discipline. And, during that time, I did learn several aspects of plant biology. So it consists of plant genetics. I took several courses in plant genetics. I took several courses in plant ecology, plant physiology, plant pathology, name it. But these were the ones I feel like I had fun in, like when I was doing my bachelor's. And the one that really piqued my interest, to be honest, was plant genetics. I want to feel like I owe it to the professor that taught us plant genetics. He was really good at his craft. And I feel like it was just quite intriguing because, you could see a lot of potentials, like when it comes to genetics, genes, what they can do, transcription factors, and all whatnot. So I piqued interest in plant genetics, and I really wanted to further my education at that point. Now, where I think my career picked up. So firstly, after my bachelor's, I went for my NYSC, and that's the National Youth Service Corps in Nigeria, where you have to serve the country for 1 year. And actually, I did work as a plant science or like agricultural teacher in a high school in Ibadan, Nigeria. But because I really, really wanted to, at that time, I didn't know I was going to come to the US, but I really wanted to do a master's. Like, I just wanted to further from my bachelor's. Like, I wanted to learn more about plant genetics. So I went back to my alma mater. I went back to the University of Ilorin, and I went to work as a research assistant for the professor that supervised my final year project. In life, we really owe our journey to a lot of people. His name is Dr. Bolo Olayinka. He helped me a lot. I remember when I submitted the abstract for my final year project, and it was like, this abstract is so good. Told me, I think you have a lot of potential. And then I was like, really? I really just like tried to put in my best to submit it. So I think he was one of the first people that told me I could do research. So I went back. I worked with him for another 1 year. That's after my NYSC. And I was able to publish a paper. That was the first paper I ever published. And this was decapitation of shoot tip has groundnut productivity So it was just an experiment where we cut the tips of groundnuts and, it increased yield that year. And it was very good to, have my name on the paper. I was really proud of myself. Now, after then, yeah, I think that was when COVID started, and there was a lot of redundancy, there was a lot of not doing work, we couldn't go to the university anymore. We asked to take a break. But then I ensured that I did not relax. Like, I ensured that I was not idle. I took a lot of courses. So Coursera courses, then I remember, I think to get a certificate was like $35. It was not something I could afford. So I would write essays on how I can get scholarship for these courses on Coursera. Like, I just really wanted to learn. So, then I was even looking at renewable energy. I was looking at environmental management, soil health, urban nature. These are all, like, I think most of these universities are in the US. One is in Denmark, and Lund, I think in Sweden, if I'm not mistaken. So I think this was also one of the times I really learned from professors in the Western world. And that just really piqued my interest the more. Like, you know what? I really want to go for my master's. I really want to continue with my education. So then I had to take professional exams. I know most of you know about GRE, you know about TOEFL. So GRE it contains mathematics and English. I didn't have to do that because of my field. I think most people in engineering, you have to like take GRE and all. But for me in plant sciences, I just had to take TOEFL. Now, this is a very funny story because I learned I had to do TOEFL by the professor I was talking with at the university here in the US. And she told me like 3 weeks, she was like, you know what, you have to write TOEFL. I had only 3 weeks to prepare for this exam. Only 3 weeks. I tell people all the time, 3 weeks. I don't know how it happened, but I had a very high score. And I think that was one of the things that made the professor say, I think I'm really going for this student. So yeah, I think this was a very good one for me to impress the professor I wanted to work with. So I had a high score in TOEFL, and that was one of the requirements for my school. So yeah, I had 107 out of 120, with writing being my highest with 29 over 30. So now, career flow. Let's see how that panned out. I got into Delaware State University, so I came to the US, and this is my PI here. This is the first professor I worked with. I appreciate her so much. I let her know this all the time. She was the first person I worked with. She was the person that brought me to the US, basically. So this is me here. This is a postdoc, very nice guy, and this was my lab mate. So yeah, when I came to Delaware State University, honestly, I didn't even go straight into lab work. I honestly started from the greenhouse. Like, I planted, I had seedlings, I planted them in the greenhouse. I exposed these plants to drought. As you can see, I had my control 7 days, 14 days, and 21 days of drought. So these are more pictures of me in the greenhouse. I was not someone that really used to take pictures, but I think on this particular day, the school needed pictures from like professors, and my professor was like, you need to take a picture. So even before here, I wasn't really taking pictures. So that's something you all should take pictures. So yeah, after this experiment exposing my plants to droughts, now here came the lab work. So, you take fresh leaves in the morning, when things are all cool for the plants, you crush them. So yeah, I extracted RNA. Sorry, I'm trying to look at the time. 9 minutes gone. So I extracted RNA. The RNA was sequenced, but even before sequencing, you need to check the quality of your RNA. And this is what you have here. Lab work continued. For you to use gel electrophoresis to check the bands, if they are good. This is a picture of my primers. Then a lot of work, cDNA, and whatnot. Now, I need to mention that, when I was doing lab work, I found it stressful. Now, the field of bioinformatics, there's no bioinformatics without wet lab. So the folks in wet lab, like this is really the basis of everything we're doing. If you want to like switch to bioinformatics, it is very good, but I never want to undermine people that are doing wet lab because they are the foundation of everything we are doing. So, but personally, I think I found it stressful because, RNA is quite tedious to extract than DNA. And I would be there in the lab from like morning. I remember vividly, 9 a.m., I'll be leaving the lab by 6 p.m. And, on my feet, standing. And I just felt like I didn't really want to do it anymore. But anyways, after this RNA was extracted, we sent them out for sequencing. And this table you see here are the list of the, I think these are isoforms because when they are collapsed, they are collapsed into transcript, then from transcripts to genes. Now I had 65,000 of this, 65,000. That was really, really large data. Like we did not have the know-how in my lab at that time to analyze this volume of data. So in the midst of, I was honestly trying to learn. I'll go online, search for sources on how I can analyze the data my advisor had given me. And that was honestly how I bumped into this fellowship. So this fellowship came up, good time, good timing, honestly. Call it luck, call it whatever you want to. But at that time, this fellowship came up by Cornell University. Now, mind you, I was doing my master's at Delaware State University. Now, this fellowship was, it was done in collaboration with Cornell University, with the United States Department of Agriculture, with HBCUs in the US. I think it was like land grants. I don't remember how many of us then, maybe like 19 schools with the US aid also. It was a very heavily funded fellowship. So I applied, and I'm just very happy and glad that I was one of the 8 people that were selected across the country for this fellowship. So this is me and my cohorts. Amazing people that I work with. We are from different land grants, HBCUs across the US. And I was one of these, 8 fantastic people. It was great working with all of them. Even though we didn't really like work together, we were in different labs. So, okay, I think I missed something here. So I wanted to mention that when we applied for the fellowship, you had to choose a professor you wanted to work with. Now, mind you, remember I said I wanted to learn how to like analyze large volume of biological data. So there were several professors that were doing other several things, but I chose, now I didn't even know this person was going to pick me because he was one of the like top professors there. But what he was doing was quantitative analysis, statistical modeling. He was so good at his craft. So I remember in my application, I wrote it there that, I want to work with Dr. Jean-Luc Yannick. And thankfully enough, when I was picked, I was paired up with him. So yeah, this was my welcome to Cornell. This was the first picture I took at Cornell. This was the first year student. In case you cannot see me in this photo, I'm right here. Okay, so this particular picture you see here was one of the classes we took in fall of, that should be 2022. Yeah, 2022. So, I mean, we are so happy we are done with that class. It was a very fun class, but I think we are just really happy that we are going on for the break. So I'm sure you can see we were all so happy in this picture. And this is just me and 2 other Thomas Wharton fellows. Okay, so I eventually completed my master's at Cornell. So now remember that large biological data I told you I was working with, those 65,000 transcripts. Now, I eventually defended my master's there, and this was what it looked like. Now, let me quickly take you back. Remember this table, this particular table? This is eventually what it became. That table you see, these are the results of that table. Now, I learned R under 1 year. Now, learning a programming language, it's easy and it's not easy, right? But I think everything comes from your mindset. I remember when I got there, you see PhD students in the lab, you'll be hearing the clicking sounds of their keyboards. And they're just like coding. I'm like, I'd never written a single line of code. But then because I knew I was going to Cornell, I also registered for a course in data camp called R. So I learned, but then, you still get there and you just get shocked at how good people are. But also have it in mind that these people have probably been coding for 3 years, 5 years. So, I didn't let that weigh me down. I tried to learn. And also, I know I'm talking to mostly Nigerian people in this talk. Also, do not forget that either in Nigeria, either outside of Nigeria, never feel bad that you don't know stuff. Like, just know that you want to learn and be ready to learn. And so many times when you want to learn, it's not people that look like you that even want to teach you. Like, you just have to have the goal in mind. So I learned R, I learned how to use Docker, and I also learned how to use high performance computing. Now, what is high performance computing? When you get to stages in bioinformatics, working with large data, so many times you can no longer analyze that data on your personal computer. That data has to be in major, like, I don't even know what to call them right now. They are just called high performance computing. Like, they are large computers that have terabytes and terabytes and terabytes of space and computing power. So you also need to learn how to connect with these computers from your personal system, and analyze data. So yeah, I had, very great results from my master's program. This is unpublished data, but it's going to be published, very soon, hopefully. Fingers crossed. Okay, so I never fail to be grateful to people that helped me, to this stage of my life. So this is the professor I worked with at Delaware State University. This is the famous Jean-Luc Yannick that I worked with at Cornell. And I also worked with Dr. Jeff. This is a bioinformatician. So just like I said, so many times from people you want to learn from, they might not look like you. I mean, here in the country, as Black people, we are part of the minority. So you might not always find people that look like you, but you must be ready to learn from them because so many of them are actually ready to learn, to teach you. This man right here, Dr. Jeff, it was the one I interfaced with the most. And it was just, pure blessing. So let me speed up. So presently in my career right now, I'm a PhD student. So I'm in the Department of Biological Sciences, but the field of research I'm doing is, computational biology. So again, this is the team I'm working with at UIC. This is my PI right here. This is me. Again, just like I said, never be scared to, be the only one, the only Black person in the room. So this is me, and trust me, I'm having a great time in my lab. Another thing to take note of is, when you're trying to probably go for a master's or a PhD, ensure you have interviews with the professors you want to work with. I had several interviews with several professors that wanted to work with me at this point. You get to stages in your career, you're probably fighting for things. Later on, things are coming to you. So several professors actually wanted me in their lab for a PhD, but a number of them were not open to internships. I want to work in the industry. I have to intern during my program. I want to. So any professor that is like, no, I'm not going to let you go for an internship, I just cancel straight. So now this is because I had options. If you do not have options, you have to go with a professor that is ready to work with you. And again, several people I spoke with, I think he was just the coolest. He was quite calm. So I eventually chose to work with him. And almost a year down the line, he has been amazing to work with. And these are other PhD students in the lab, other undergraduate students. These are the students I teach. So just wrapping things up, bioinformatics is basically how to turn big biological data and turn it into precise information, like information that is answering major scientific questions. So, and how do you go from this to this? Programming, methods development, working with models, mathematical algorithms, machine learning, and data analytics. So right now in my lab, I'm in the Walker lab, and so this is one of the project of this is even an undergraduate work in the lab. So this is called semblance, and this is a way to ensure transcriptome quality. So that is when you sequence your RNA, right? How it goes from different steps, from your raw reads to your sequences. So it created a bioinformatics pipeline that does that. And this, trust me, requires thousands and thousands of lines of code. So he did this in C++. So this is Transrate 2. This is the work of another PhD student in the lab. So I'm currently using this software tool. So a bioinformatics pipeline is different from a software tool. Probably, I'm sure there will be time for questions. So just let me, continue. You can ask me more questions about this. But this is a screenshot from me working with Eric's software tool. So you also need to learn how to make use of these tools. It's also done. So I do this actually did this in Linux environment. More questions, when you have questions, that's good. So I think I wrote here that what would be the main project of my PhD. Right now, I'm still thinking about it, but I would, I want to build a bioinformatics pipeline. A software tool is great, honestly. If you are able to create a software to do your PhD program, it's great. I also want to do that. But a bioinformatics pipeline combines several analytic steps, and you have 1, 2, second tool, third tool, till, it helps you refine your data. Career prospects, where can a bioinformatics scientist, engineer, or computational biologist work? Anywhere. Just think about that place. A bioinformatician can work there, from the hospitals to a university, either as a professor, to forensics, probably the FBI, to a software company, to a biotech company, to agriculture, anyone. But guess where I want to work in all of these places? I really like to work for the FBI, honestly. Okay, so things to take note of: find a support group. I'm part of a professional group called Black Women in Computational Biology. This group, I'm sure you know them on LinkedIn. They are a very big group. It was started by a PhD student at the University of Pennsylvania. So this is just, bringing Black women together in bioinformatics, giving us information, teaching us stuff, have mentors, and be ready to put in the work. Now, one more thing. This is my very last slide. Without commitment, you will never start. But more importantly, without consistency, you will never finish. So this is a talk by Denzel Washington that I listened to. I think that was late 2019 or 2020. And till date, I have never forgotten about this talk. I've never forgotten. I watched that day and it got embedded in my subconscious. Nothing good in life falls on your lap. You have to work at it. And when you start, you also don't just want to start, maybe starting a course, not finishing it, starting something off. You have to start, you have to learn how to be consistent, and you need to learn how to finish things up. Thank you. That's all.
Interesting. Thanks so much. I feel like you shouldn't stop. You should continue. This is really, really nice. Thanks so much. I really enjoy it. And I believe that every other person enjoyed the talk, right? The presentation. You can react by, you can show your reaction. So thank you, Tomi. And
You're welcome.
yeah. So you're going to have a Q&A section, but
Right.
then we want to have both our presenters finish with their presentation first before we do that. So
Sure.
I'm going to invite Mrs. Chisom or Soremekun to actually give us a presentation. But before then, I'm going to tell you a little bit about her. Then she's going to tell you a lot. So Mrs. Chisom Soremekun is actually a bioinformatician. She's a PhD candidate at Makerere University in Uganda, and she's a DAD scholar. DAD is actually a scholarship from Germany, and currently she's working on genetics of diabetes. She's going to tell you more about herself. Mrs. Chisom, are you in the house?
Hi, thank you, Sophia.
Hi, good evening.
Thank you for the wonderful presentation. Hi, everyone. Let me quickly share my screen and I will begin my presentation. Okay, so I believe my screen is very visible. I would like to thank Tomi for that wonderful presentation. I enjoyed it and I wish he could continue. But I understand that we are all working with time. Okay, my name is Chisom Soremekun and I'm a PhD student at Makerere University and doing my research at Hermon Centrum in Munich, Germany. So I'll be sharing my story. Well, my story is not too long, too short, and then if you have any question, I believe the question will capture most of any other thing you guys want to know. So my background, I have a BSc and master's degree in biochemistry. I finished my bachelor's in 2015. After that, I went for youth service. And right from my BSc days, I knew I wanted to do a PhD. I've always dreamt of becoming a professor. So, and during my youth service, I applied for my MSc almost immediately while I was doing my internship. So my master's degree classes actually started while I was still serving. So I had to manage to juggle both finishing my NYSC and taking my first year courses in biochemistry. And I chose cancer research and molecular biology option because I like genetics and genomics. Like I think it was one of the easiest courses I was taught in my during my undergraduate days. None other well, I was not too fascinated with other aspects of biochemistry, just the genetics. And so I wrote for a master's degree, choosing this lab because we have 4 labs in our department. So we have to be under one where you have to carry out your project and all. So I completed my master's degree. Towards the end of my master's degree, we took a course, 705, where we were taught bioinformatics. Bioinformatics was just one of the topics, more like they wanted us to know, okay, these are possibilities that we can find in biochemistry and where we can apply biochemistry. And I was kind of interested. Yeah, I was very interested in bioinformatics. And then, but when I finished my MSc, there was nothing, how would I put it? I couldn't just get the opportunity to get what I wanted. It was more like a lonely time or a lonely period. I didn't want to apply for a job because I knew I wanted to do a PhD. And I thought if I start working, I might lose focus and then I might not be able to achieve my dream. So anything job, I didn't bother applying. However, I love research. So I was working as research assistant at UCH, University College Hospital. I assist doctors in their research, be it data collection, analysis, and all. So I wasn't not very broke, but I had money coming in to at least take care of myself. I wasn't asking for money from home and all, pay my rent because I had to move out from the hostel when I finished my master's degree. So that was what I was doing for like how many years? 2 to 3 years. I wanted to do a PhD, but I wasn't getting any PhD option. UI was out of it because I really wanted some. I didn't wanted another to have a feel of another university or another country or another town and stuff like that. So I just didn't want UI. But my supervisor advised me then that even if I don't want UI, maybe I can just enroll and be a student. Hopefully, I can something that there are always fellowships that can cater for research and projects, even when you are not enrolled or even when you are enrolled as a student in Africa. Well, I took that advice, but I didn't start working on it. So that time I wrote my GRE, I wrote my TOEFL. It was funny because when Tomi said she wrote TOEFL in 3 weeks. I was wishing I had that chance because I wrote my TOEFL in like 4 days. It was towards the end of the year, so I was thinking, well, I could count on my proof of English proficiency from the university and all. But when I saw the seriousness of it, I just said, wow, I had to pick the closest date, and that it was more like 4 days away. So I had to start reading. At the end, I got like 97. I was like, well, that was enough, that was enough for me to get past the cutoff mark. I wrote my GRE. It was a scary experience. I don't like exams. I don't like exams. I get anxious when I face exams, and that was part of the things that affected me in my undergraduate and master's degree. My undergraduate, I finished with a second class lower division. It was really, really, well, not very bad, but I know I could have done better, but I don't like exams. So I wrote that GRE, and then I started applying to schools in the US. But unfortunately, I didn't get any admission. I can remember paying for application fees with my money and all. That was partly what I was doing with my earnings. I was just applying, doing all these exams and all those things. So it was really a trying time for me. That was like 2 to 3 years, not doing anything, but I was okay because I was doing the research I love, and I was meeting a lot of people and interacting with a lot of people. So I was working at I was still working at this my research work and all. Then one of my friend, my roommate's former friend, I don't know how to put it, but he sent this link to me. The link was on Bioinformatics conference, FMBC in Nigeria. I was like, wow, this is nice. I would like to attend this conference. Then I was faced with the trouble of, well, what will so I had to submit an abstract because I attended one conference when I was in my first year masters at Covenant University. So I didn't submit abstract. So what I saw there made me to decide that any conference I attend, I have to submit an abstract. I can't just walk into a conference and unless maybe unless maybe I just decide to just go for the conference and freestyle and stuff like that. So I started thinking, well, how do I do a research, submit an abstract and all? Then I spoke with my friend. I had this friend that was also interested in bioinformatics. He had actually attended a conference a conference with a workshop in bioinformatics where they were taught some few things, and he has started this PhD in computational biology and all. So after speaking with him, he put me through some steps for analysis, bioinformatics analysis and all. So we were able to finish this analysis and came up with this abstract. I was still working with my MSc supervisor. So I showed it to her. She said, well, you can attend. I know these people. You can put in your abstract. She was, okay, you can put in. So I sent it to her to review and then submit. And my abstract was accepted, and here was I in Lagos. And one thing about for this conference, there was a travel fellowship. The deadline for the travel fellowship had closed. Well, I thought, well, since it's in Lagos, my sister lives in Lagos, I can actually stay with her, and then every morning I go to the conference, and the conference was 20,000 naira. Well, I had to pay for the to attend, registration fee to attend. This is still story for another day. So during this conference, I met a lot of people, and I met some of my former classmates, the people, some of friends I knew from somewhere from IITA and all, because at the point I wanted to work in IITA, maybe like a little bit internship and all, but it didn't work out. So some people I met there, I met them here and all. So the conference was very, very interesting. It was the first Nigerian bioinformatics conference hosted by Dr. Segun Fatumo and his colleagues. Well, it was good then, but this was like this was how it all started for me. After the introduction or the first part of the conference after that was a lunch. We had to leave the building, go to the other side of the building for where we'll have our food. But while I was on the queue waiting for my food, I was like, well, one of these professor that presented, maybe I could just talk to him and then ask for a picture. Okay, that was how I left the queue, went back into the main hall, waited till my turn. I spoke with him. Oh, prof, this is me, this is me. You mentioned that you taught in my department. I'm also from this department. He was like, wow, so we are from this, and do you know so and so? I said, yes, they are my supervisors, they taught me at all. It was now that was it. But I was like, oh, Prof, can we take a picture? Then I can show my supervisor that I met you. He said, no, that he doesn't take pictures. I was like, well, you don't take pictures. That was the end of the discussion. I went for the conference. The conference ended. I went back home, continued my job, my research and all. Then one day I got a email from my master's supervisor. He just told me that so person asked of me and he has a project for me to do. Okay, so apparently the prof I met that refused to take picture with me, sent an email to my supervisor, okay, that he specifically wants me to do some assignment. And this assignment was to coordinate HTA Bionet's introduction to bioinformatics course. So HTA Bionet is a sub-part of HT Africa. HT Africa is like a very large consortium. So HT Bionet is a part of it. And they hold this introduction to bioinformatics course all over centers in Nigeria and Africa. Africa, Western, North, East, and South, and all. So they are just starting the one for they have a NABDA node. NABDA is in Abuja, and NABDA node they are into two. One is in Abuja, one is in the Department of Biochemistry. It's not very obvious. It's somewhere hidden. It's more like a large room with computers and all. It's just for bioinformatics. So they wanted to hold the first class there. So that was how I coordinated it. It was for master students. I had to talk to the master students or I can remember getting into trouble because of that, because I was supposed to go through the HOD. But the professor didn't want me to go through the HOD and all. So I had to stand in between two big professors. Sorry about the background noise. I have a toddler here that is excited. So that was how I coordinated the program. After coordinating the courses, I also took part in the course. That was my first experience in bioinformatics. Took part in the course, passed it, had my certificate. I showed prof, and then the professor said, "Well, okay, since I've passed this first stage, maybe we can move further. Maybe I can handle more responsibilities." So I was told to come to Abuja to start my internship in Abuja, in the main NABDA branch where I will do some bioinformatics projects. So I started there, I moved to Abuja. I had to quit my research assistant job and then move to Abuja just for a few months. That was when I was 3 months into that when COVID came. So I had to come back to Ibadan and then leave Abuja. But during then, HT Bionet had this internship opportunity. They had this internship opportunity where people from one node can visit another node wherever in in different African countries to do a project. So I chose to go to South Africa, University of Witwatersrand. So in the process, that was when COVID came, but when at the end of COVID, my application was successful. So my trip to carry out an internship in University of Wits at SBNB was approved, and then I got ready to move to South Africa for 3 months. That was 2020, early part of that was 2021. That was towards the early part, 2020, 2021. So when I moved to South Africa, well, I already realized that, okay, my PhD is going to be in bioinformatics since this is getting more interesting. So I have to maximize the opportunity very well. If you can remember what I said, my supervisor told me, she told me that I can apply I can apply or enroll in an African university so that it can give me more opportunity to access funds that are meant for Africans in Africa. So before I moved to South Africa, I got married, and also my husband was also in South Africa for like he was finishing up his PhD. So we had to move back together, and my husband now got a job in Uganda for a postdoc. So apparently we are moving from South Africa back to Uganda, and I had to enroll for a PhD in Uganda because they have this Africa Center of Excellence. Africa Center of Excellence. This is one of the bioinformatics core bioinformatics facilities where they do so many bioinformatics. So I thought, well, since I'm already here, let me enroll. Since my husband had 1 to 2 years contract too. So I didn't just want to keep on looking for opportunities. And even if I find opportunity that is outside Uganda, my my husband leaving his it will be hard for him to leave his position because he's already getting integrated into what is happening. So that was how I started in Uganda. I did my first year. So in first year, you do all the courses. It's also like that in the US. You're exposed to so many courses. So that was where I learned so many bioinformatics, so many areas in bioinformatics. We did some programming language and all that. Remember, I did not have any period any previous knowledge on all these things. So after I started my PhD, um, I started applying for opportunities, several opportunities to help me that can basically put me through my PhD, because even at Makeri, I wasn't funded. So everything was coming from my pocket, and their tuition is like, it's in more like in dollar. It's very way more expensive than education in Nigeria. So, and that's where I am. So while I was in Uganda, I applied for a Commonwealth scholarship, and luckily I got this scholarship. It's called Split Site, where I have to do my research for 1 year in another university. I chose University of Leicester in United Kingdom. So while I was preparing to move, sorry about the noise. While I was preparing to move to the UK, my husband also my husband also got he got a grant. He was awarded a grant to also go to the UK to do some research, and that was how we moved from Uganda to UK. And I was already pregnant then. So while I was in UK, it was a very tough time, trying to adjust, trying to make everything fit together, do my research, just getting everything together. So I'm still trying to adjust, but so far I think maybe I've been able to gain some things, which includes okay, in addition to the Commonwealth, I was able to get this scholarship, and there was also this ACTG scholarship too. And I've been able to get 9 publications, with few of them under review, attend conferences, and winning international awards, and so on. So this, like, I'm towards the tail end of my PhD, so more like I've really gone so far, like, as you can see. But while I was in University of Leicester, I learned so many things, or so many things. Well, I enjoyed so many things. That's why I brought this pros of bioinformatics. Because if I were not registered as a bioinformatics student, I will find so many things very hard. More like the faster experiments. In wet lab, you have to, of course, I work with rats and animal experiments. You have to do some things all over and over again, and some things are not even under your control. So, but I realized that with bioinformatics, I can do some things faster. Not very, very fast, but at least most of the things are under your control. You can face some things that are not maybe like having errors and all, but if you meet the right person or someone that can help you sort it out, then you are good. I had flexible working time because I couldn't go to school in University of Leicester. So, but my supervisor just wants me to, anytime I can, to deliver my weekly deliverables during the week or during the month. So whether I choose to go to school or not, it didn't bother me. I could work from home, do everything. My colleagues were just like, wow, yeah, I really enjoy you at home and you are not even bothered. I was like, well, this is a perfect opportunity for me, because heavily pregnant, you can't be going to school, you don't even need much stress, but you are still able to do your research and do your work. it was really, that was one of the things I appreciated most, or I still appreciate most about bioinformatics. And then diversity of backgrounds, like Tommy said, most of the people that know what you want, they don't look like you. And if you have to get those things, you have to just get accustomed to having so many people from different places speaking different languages near you, and you have to be willing to ask for help, receive help, or just find your way around so many problems. So that's part of the advantage of bioinformatics, because while I was okay, I'll still talk about my challenges. Please let me know. It's taking so much time. Okay, I'll round up. I'll go very fast. And then I was able to learn how to solve complex biological problems. The challenges I had was, first of all, trying to focus. Getting area of focus was very hard for me. Programming skill, Tomi has mentioned that learning how to, having no experience and then suddenly starting to program was hard. And then laptop and no access to computing cluster and unstable internet connection, it was very challenging. And then I will advise beginners, if you want to go into bioinformatics, first of all, look for where you want to focus on. Bioinformatics is very, very, very wide. So you just have to create a niche for yourself or what you want to do. You have to learn the basics. You make use of all the free courses that are available, and then try to work with real data. And more tips for me: faith in God. I know you have so many we believe in different God based on our religion. So based on your religion, believe in your God, ask for help, ask for direction, and then work hard. Work hard. You just have to work hard, because these things are very hard if you don't work hard. And you have to be willing to invest in yourself. You have to invest in yourself, because if you don't, no one will invest in you. Nobody will bring out. When you are ready to work on, when you are ready to invest in yourself, you attract more people or more investors, and then mentors. Learn to work with people that have already been through the path where you want to go. And I would like to acknowledge everyone that has supported me throughout this journey. It's been a very, very, very long journey, but believe me, I wouldn't have even gone far without these people. At least 90% these people on this screen, they've done so much for me. This is the professor that refused to take picture with me. He's here, Professor Nash. And this is my supervisor, who is now at Queen Mary. This is my Leicester supervisor, and this was my South African supervisor. And here is my wonderful husband. He's also in the same field, and he takes me through, and we talk bioinformatics every minute of the day. And thank them, and then thank Bioinformatics for this opportunity to present this work. And I'm sorry for taking so much time. I lost track while trying to tell my story. Thank you for listening. If you have any question, I'll be willing to answer them.
Thanks so much, Chisom. That was so detailed. Like you really literally walk us through every stages. Thanks so much. I'm very sure that a lot of people ask a lot of questions. There are questions in the chat box, but I think I'm going to give people the opportunity to ask their question directly before I read those on in the chat box. So if you have any question, you can signify by raising up your hands. Then I'll call you. You can unmute your mic and speak. Any question? Okay. Yes. So I have O. I don't know. There is no name. It's just O. You can go ahead. You can unmute your mic and ask a question.
Good afternoon. My name is Naya. Yeah, my name is there. Oh, is also there. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for this enlightenment section. Thank you from hearing from people who are already in the field. I have anticipated this program. It seemed like it just came at the right time when I've been having so much thought on how to navigate the career of bioinformatics. I would just want to take some seconds to share where I'm coming from. I had my first degree in microbiology in 2016. I took a break from school. I went back to UI to do microbiology, but not in bioinformatics. But I did it in industrial microbiology. So from UI, I understood there was something about technology which I picked interest in. Now, here is where I'm trying to get the career focus. So, trying to link technology to bioinformatics is something I think there is a connection, which I got a bit of insight. So, here's my question. From what she mentioned now, I'm referring to Mrs. Chisom. She said something about bioinformatics having more like need to have a niche. So, are there different departments or subunits or area of focus? And I would like her to share more light on that so that I can find a way to align that in my own area of interest. I'm more interested in anything that has to do with malaria treatment, anything that has to do with gene manipulation, something around that space. Maybe not. I don't have enough 100% clarity, but something around there. I would want her to share light on the bioinformatics field so I can find a way. I have other questions, but I think let me go with this first. Thank you.
Mrs. Chisom, you can answer.
Hi, Funaya. Thank you for your question. Well, bioinformatics, it's very, very wide. Like, okay, presently my area of focus is on statistical genomics or genomic epidemiology, where we analyze large biological data, and we analyze sequenced or sequence or genotype data. Then I was telling one of my friends some time ago that I've never analyzed raw reads before. More like apart from the courses I took in my first year where we did some practicals and all, like after that, I've never had anything to do with alignment and all those areas. So like it's not really my thing. Well, depending, but informatics have several areas that I know bioinformatics. First is this statistical genetics or genetic epidemiology, which uses statistical tools to tell stories and make sense out of biological data, be it maybe GWAS, Mendelian randomization, polygenic risk score, genomics, multiomics, and all those things. This is my field. Then I'm aware of computational drug target field where people try to work with molecules, work with protein structures, and so many of them. And what other field can I remember? So I think basically to answer your question, which is on different where you would like to focus on based on the available options. If you have control over that, I think you can, since you have since you know what you want to work with or you know your area, it's more like finding the particular methodology that works for you. So the method deployed will determine the exact area or field or units you want to work with. And it's not the same for all schools or for all universities or for all labs. I hope I've answered your question. If not, you can let me know or I can clarify more.
I'm
Okay,
also
thank you very much, ma.
okay. Also wondering if Miss Tomi want to add anything to that.
I was actually not prepared to answer the question since it was directed to Chisom. But just like Chisom have said, like everything she said is correct. It's very, very wide. If you remember for a particular slide of mine, I said, where can a bioinformatician work? And I said literally anywhere. Like you can work anywhere. And just like you said, your background is in microbiology. I think firstly, like if you want to, further, you need to understand that research is heavily funded. It's where the money is, like where the money for research is. So even though you probably have a preference for a particular field, you need to understand that by the time you are looking for PhD opportunities or master's opportunities, like you want to be emailing professors that have money. And sometimes let's say the professor that has money in a particular school is probably doing, something else. It might not be too far, but it might just be different from what you're doing. Like you also need to understand that you have to be flexible. When I was living in Nigeria, I don't think I ever saw myself like working with raw data like this, honestly. Like I even first thought I was going to be working on strawberries. I was happy, like, yeah, I'm going to be working on strawberries. And then when I got to Delaware, I was actually going to be working on sugar maple. I'm like, what is sugar maple? That was when I even knew what sugar maple was. Imagine. So you need to understand that everywhere, like, research is about the land grant that wants to give you money, the government agency that wants to give your professor money. So you just need to be flexible. Like, the main thing is learning the skills. If you check out people working in several companies now, even in hospitals, some of them work with plants like me. Some of them have started from microbiology. Some people, their undergrad, they did maths. Go and check it. Some people, their undergrad is like BSc mathematics. And now today they are doing bioinformatics. They've learned medical science, you just need to, be flexible and know that research is about the funding. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yes.
Thank you
Okay.
very much. Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Yeah, I think a lot of things have to be put in place for me. Yeah, thank you. Am I allowed to
Okay.
ask more questions or?
We will love to allow other people to ask, then I can come back to you if you don't mind.
Okay, no problem.
Okay. So, Oluwakemi, can we have you? Can we have the question? We can hear you. Sorry, Oluwakemi, we can hear you. I think you are not speaking. So why you okay? You can go ahead. We can hear you. So while you're trying to figure out what is happening, can we have Olawale? Oluwakem, you can drop your question in the chat box if you can figure out what is happening to your mic. So Olawale, please go ahead.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, and thank you, the panelists, for the wonderful session. Well, basically, I have a quantitative background, specifically in statistics, and currently I'm at the stage of I'm almost completing my master's program in statistics, and I tend to have interest in genetics. So I'm actually looking at the possibility of finding a nexus between statistics and genetics. So my question is, what would be your recommendation in transiting from statistics and applying statistics to genomics or genomic data analysis? And also, how feasible would it be to go from a master's in statistics to a PhD program? And which PhD program would you recommend if that route is feasible? And if the route is not feasible, which other option would you advise? Thank you.
Thank you, Olawale. Chisom, would you like to go first?
Okay, thank you. Okay, so like I said, during my MSc, during my PhD, it's combined between PhD and master's degree. So most of my colleagues, or most of the colleagues I have, some came from computer science background, some med lab, some statistics and all. and we're all going to bioinformatics. So your question whether if you are able to, it's possible for you to do a PhD in bioinformatics with MSc in statistics. Yes, it's very, very, very possible. And sometimes not sometimes, I admire people with statistical background because they tend to get these things more than we from the other background. So it's more like you have the advantage. So because all the tools we work with, they are statistical tools, like is still that statistics. So more like you have an upper hand here if you can back up your knowledge with the biology side of it, then you are in a very, very good position to pursue your goals. So question about which program can you apply for and how you can do it. Tomi said that before. It depends on what you see. Unless maybe you have your own money to maybe pay for tuition or so to also take care of your livings and all. But if you are depending on funding from external funders and all, you have to bend your wish or your dream to whatever the fund says. So if you get if you have a funding opportunity and they're saying that they want someone to do this, to do that, that means if you want that money, you have to tailor your skills or your knowledge or background to fit whatever they are asking for. So I think the question depends on you. What opportunities are you going for, and what funded fund are you also looking at going to a particular maybe particular lab and where they do some specific thing. So it's quite broad. It's quite broad, and it's not totally dependent on you alone. It also depends on what it's out there and opportunities that are available. So you just have to look whatever you see and you think you fit in, put in your application, and who knows, it will work out for you. So you just have to look for opportunities and then bend yourself towards those opportunities if you are looking for external funds. But if you have funds available and you want to you can pay for your tuition and all those things, then you can look for where your interest lies most, where you can blend in your statistics and bioinformatics. I think I've answered that. Tomi, you can help me contribute to the question too.
Yes, just very quickly, everything she said is valid. Just like I said, there are people in bioinformatics that their bachelor's was completely in mathematics. So you having a bachelor's in statistics, like it's not even something you should doubt for 1 second. Professors are going to find you as an asset. So someone like me that I did plant biology, then I moved to plant genetics before finally diverting bioinformatics. When I started my PhD, something my PI told me you need to learn how to teach yourself mathematics. Now, usually in Nigeria, like if your mathematics is not so solid, then you go to the science part where you want to do medicine or you want to do something. And people like with great smart are those that go for engineering and all whatnot. So the surprising part of everything is that bioinformatics needs a lot of mathematics. It needs a lot of statistics. So the question of, is it a possible transition? Forget it. You're spot on. Now, the second part of, what PhD should you consider? Any PhD. So, in bioinformatics, you can have PhD in biological sciences. It depends on what that professor is doing. And again, the professor that has money, the professor that has money, the department that has money. So, just like she said, it could be in. Then again, different departments name their courses or their what's it called? Their fields differently. So some schools might call it PhD Department of Genomics and Genetics. Some can call it genetics and something. Some can, different names. But the essence is that the research you are doing, are you going to be making use of computational methods? Are you going to be using programming? Are you going to be analyzing biological data to answer scientific questions? That's all you need. Yeah, thank you.
Did I catch that?
Yeah. Thank you so much for the explanation. I just hope that I won't be engaged in things like wet lab, because in statistics we do more of a computer, not going and mixing this together. So yeah, thank you all the same. I really appreciate your explanation.
Okay, thank you. Let's have Balku before Daniel, before I move to few questions that we have in the chat. Oh, so Daniel, can we have your questions? Daniel, are you there? Okay.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. We can
Thank you
hear
very
you.
much.
Yeah.
My name is Daniel, and starts the section with. Okay, thank you very much. My name is Daniel Biauku, and actually my question is that during my undergraduate I studied fisheries and aquaculture management, and I'd like to know the possibility, like the usefulness. I don't know if you have an idea of learning bioinformatics I want to go for marine biotechnology. So I don't think, do you see a nexus between learning bioinformatics and its applicability in marine biotechnology?
We would like to comment, answer this first. Okay.
First time.
Should I go first?
Okay, that's fine.
So if you remember from my presentation, I mentioned Dr. Jeff, the man I said, literally taught me, walked me through analyzing all of my data. He's a Canadian, and guess what he studied for his undergrad? Not his undergrad. Even what he did for his PhD was PhDs in forestry. When he told me, I was like, what? What do you even mean by that? So, he told me that after his PhD, during his postdoc, he went to do his postdoc at a university in a lab that was doing bioinformatics. And he said he learned programming from scratch. You know what? You can be anything. It's not something someone can teach you. Like it's just something you need to imbibe and just know, like, your name. If you know that it's bioinformatics you want to do, you have to learn it from the ground up. Like, you need to look for free courses, programming languages. You need to learn and learn and learn and learn and learn and learn and learn. And, you would need an advisor that is open-minded to believe in you, like, oh, I think this guy can do it. But secondly, you need to be able to prove yourself. If you have a track record of, analyzing data, you could also go for a master's first if you want. But even if you want to go for a straight PhD, just try to collaborate with people. Maybe try to publish one paper. Just one paper where, you are able to show that you are the one that analyzed the data, or you have projects. There's something called GitHub. That GitHub is a place where you can upload your projects where you have analyzed data, where you've answered major questions. If you can show a track record, honestly, that you are interested in this, and then you have the ability, you have the know-how knowledge on how to do it, a professor that believes in you will give you the opportunity. I think that's the best way I can answer the question. Thank you.
Thanks. Mrs. Chisom, do you want to add something to it?
Yeah, Tomi has said it all. If it's bioinformatics you want, then you have to go for it. And then the program you also want to go for, which is the marine biotechnology, right? You also have to, because you'll be taking you'll be taking courses and you'll be registering in a school. So you have to check what what they want. Because if it's what you want, the school want, that's how you can, it will help you to have a big picture of all that is required and needed of you. So if you're learning bioinformatics, surely it can be applied. But if you get into the course and maybe maybe there are no courses on bioinformatics, and or what are you going to do? Well, that's where initiative come in. You have to maybe look for your project that you can now bring in your bioinformatics experience into that same field. So it's very, 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 very possible. I don't think I've seen a field where bioinformatics, where there is data, it's not needed. Well, it might not be biological, but I think there is always this data component of every courses. So in summary, just check for the the courses you want to study, the university, go through the outline of what they need from you, and then you can now bring it back to bioinformatics.
Okay, thanks so much. Carol, do you want to go ahead?
Yes, thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me, please?
Yes, yes.
Yes, yes. Okay. So I have a question for both of the speakers. I think I'll go with that one first. So my question is, what advice would you give someone that left the biology part for a while and then is now ready to apply for a master's and a PhD? How would you advise her approach? And my next question is for Tomi. So while you were running down, like while we were talking about your journey, I wanted to know what grade did you graduate with in your undergrad? And then were you funded for your master's? Then for Mrs. Chisom, I saw that you got like 3 scholarships. I would like to know what those scholarships were. Then I know that this question would have been answered, has been answered actually previously, but I feel like there might be something that any of you would want to add. So my interest coming from an undergrad, a BSc in cell biology and genetics, I realized that I think I like biomedical engineering more because of some questions I've seen some of the professors answer in their research. So my question is about the nexus between bioinformatics and biomedical engineering. I know that coming from a cell biology and genetics background, we did not exactly do a lot of engineering courses. And I don't know, I'm trying to use bioinformatics as a segue for biomedical engineering. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Tomi, do you want to take a pass first? Then Chisom will take a pass after you.
Maybe Chisom should go first on this one.
Oh, okay.
Okay, thank you, Tomi. Well, you said that the first question, you said that what advice do we have for someone that left biology aspect for a while? So I was wondering, what's the person's background? What if the person left biology? What was the person doing, or what's the person's core discipline? And
cell biology and genetics, and then like after NYSC, I worked in something not related. I did like fintech a little bit, I was still trying to just navigate my way and try to see, what I was more passionate about. And then I did a little management. I helped manage a game arcade. So
Okay.
yeah.
I see what you mean now by leaving biology aspect for a while. Well, I guess that's not a problem at all, because if you studied cell biology and genetics, what you know is already what you know. Like, no one will take your basic knowledge from you. You can still remember everything that you were taught during your classes. You can remember all your genetics. So even if you leave the biology area for some time to do other things, well, that shouldn't take away your basic knowledge of biology. In fact, you even like cell biology and genetics, I guess maybe from Unilab, that is even the core of what you need, because it's the genetics aspect that you will now have to apply to bioinformatics. So for me, the person doesn't have any problem at all. You don't even have any problem. If you can't remember some things, it's just like taking a refresher course or going through your notes, or even while you are on the job, you can. It's because there's no end to knowledge. You will still have to revisit everything that you've been taught once you can go through your basics. So for me, there is no problem at all. You have your degree, you have your certificate in that area. No one will take it away from you, and your knowledge too. And then your another question for me. Okay, you were asking about my scholarships, and yeah. So like I said, my supervisor advised me to enroll in an African university. So there are so many funds available for people that are registered in African universities to pursue their research. The first one was the Commonwealth. I guess we are all familiar with it. It's more like the split scholarship is for you to do your research in the UK for 1 year. The second was ACTG scholarship, which they sponsored like 4 people from Africa to do their to use a particular data for their research, which is in bioinformatics. Yeah. And then the third one is the DRD scholarship, which is the German government scholarship for. I applied for the binational, which is also for you to do your research in a particular university while registered in another university. So I guess that's all your questions for me. Tomi, over to you.
Yes. So when it comes to leaving biology for a while, it's not a problem at all. You also need to learn how to tell your story. If you didn't find a job like in bios, and you had to do, I don't know if I really remember what he said he did, but and you had to go to another field to make some money at that point, and then now you want to go back to graduate school, it's not a problem at all. You just need to learn how to tailor all of these things to make a beautiful story. I like to give examples a lot. I feel like examples make things more relatable. So I have a friend that studied agricultural and biosystems engineering in the university. And then he went to go work for a bank. He was in the banking sector for years, a number of years, maybe 3-4 years, and in Nigeria. And after a while, he's like, you know what? I want to leave the country. I want to go for graduate school, and I want to do engineering. So, he picked himself up again, tried to take some courses, tried to do some things. He didn't have any papers. Don't get that twisted. He didn't have any papers published or anything. But just like Chisom has said, no one can take away that knowledge from him. His bachelor's was in agriculture and biosystems engineering, and he wants to come to the US for master's in engineering, and it worked. It happened. So again, your bachelor's is in cell, something biology. You can always go for it. You just have to, refresh yourself, because you're going to have interviews. They are going to ask you questions. You need to have answers to questions like on the spot, and that comes from refreshing your mind on things you've done in your undergrad, checking out for the school you're trying to apply to, what they are doing in their courses, just like Chisom said, like, you know, you don't want to be caught off guard when they ask you questions. Then, what was the second question? Can somebody remind me? Oh, I wrote it down. Scholarships, right? Okay, the scholarships one. Scholarships is all about, you know, scholarship. What is scholarship? Money. You are trying to apply for like extra money, extra fellowships. I don't even know the magic behind it. I think the magic behind it is always looking for information, you know, where the scholarships are, where this extra $1,000, because even as a graduate student, you need to like always have this extra money in different places. You just need to apply and apply. You get some rejections, you get some, you know, some people that will accept you. But for, let's say, very prestigious scholarships, you just need to be on the lookout, honestly, and know how to tell your story. That is, you know, knowing how to tell your story is very important. You know, whatever Chisom said today and you feel like, oh, wow, or whatever I said today and you're like, oh, wow, it's because of the way we, you know, presented the struggle to you, you know, the journey to you and how it comes. Those are the things you use to win scholarships. Those are the things you use to even get PhDs, master's programs. That's how you get them, honestly. Knowing how to tell your story, a story that shows a record of you putting in the work, you know, and it's going to happen. If we've not answered your question completely, you can, you know, ask again, but I think we've kind of done justice to it.
Thanks so much for answering the question. We have really gone over time. So we just take two questions from the chat, and I will want Chisom to answer one, then Tomi will answer one, which I think she has mentioned a little thing about that particular one. So I will go for Chisom's own first. It's from Oluwakemi. It says, I wish to ask for the skills I need to earn as regard bioinformatics. I have started learning the basics of bioinformatics and also Python and R. I'm not stereotyped to doing bioinformatics, but just to promote my chance in getting scholarship in good labs. I had my first degree in biochemistry, and my research area is neuroscience. Chisom, I'm not sure if you captured that.
Yeah, I did. Thank you, Luakemi. Then I think the first question I will ask is you said you are not stereotyped to bioinformatics, but you are improving your chances. If you get a fully funded offer to do bioinformatics, are you going to take it up? Are you going to, do you think you'll be able to do it? Because, okay, but since you already do your programming languages and all, that's great. That's good. At least that's one of the steps. So one of the things that helped me is doing projects, like doing like real analysis. Like it's easier for you to learn. Tomi said it. I did data camp. I did the Python, but you will be surprised that when you are faced with projects, what you need is more than is more than what the courses taught you. Well, the courses will just you just get expose yourself, just learn one or two things, have that feel. But I think the main lesson there, the main thing there is like doing a project that involves those programming languages that you'll be taught. So from my what I would advise, necessary skills that you will need is just try taking up, in addition to the courses that you're taking, just try taking up a project or easier, yeah, an easier way to do this is just to look for a paper, a basic bioinformatics paper, and then try to replicate what they've done using another set. There are so many publicly available data sets using the skills that you have. So by the time you are doing this, you will deploy the skills that you've learned, you will learn how to apply it. And as Tomi also said, you have to those projects you deposit it on GitHub, and then it gives you, it's more like that's your own portfolio, and it's more like an evidence of your proficiency, even if it's not so high, but your little proficiency in that field. And I think it speaks more it speaks more, yeah. And then you, if you don't get that particular project written up as manuscript and submitting it as a paper, it will go a very long way. So I would just advise, if you as in addition to your course, the best, what I know that can help you the best is just taking up a project, apply everything you know around it. And you might ask, where will you get a project from? If you know someone that okay, the first one is getting a research publication and trying to replicate what they've done. And then another one is looking for someone that has also gone ahead of you, not so ahead. When I started learning, I told you I had a friend that has just he also started, but he has not gone so far. So he was able to be downloading all the things they were taught to me, and we tried to work on a particular project and all. So that was what we were doing. And my supervisors and my mentors saw the potential. Okay, this one can do this one can do that. That means there is hope. So just try to, no matter how small, I know bioinformatics, there are so many small things one can do here, one can do here. Just try to apply those skills to what you are doing. To me, I believe it will help you more, and it will even help you remember all the programmings and all the languages that you are learning. It will help to stick more. So that's the skill line I would advise you to acquire at this point.
Thanks so much, Chisom. So the last question for today will be for Tomi. And the question is from Adebayo Sokweju. She said, what courses can you advise that one should apply for to commence the journey? A link to such program would be much appreciated. And do you provide mentorship to those who are willing to learn directly from you? If yes, how can one participate in your mentorship program?
Can you please ask the first part of the question again?
What courses can you advise that one should apply to commence the journey? A link to such program would be much appreciated.
Okay, so I want to believe when the person say courses to apply to, that's like courses you can take to learn, right? It's not like courses to apply for a master. Okay. Coursera is your go-to place. Coursera, I'm going to put that in the chat box. Coursera. So I took several courses on Coursera. They are not usually free to get a certificate. If you want a certificate that you want to put on your CV, I mean, $35 is actually a lot of money to pay for a certificate. So write an essay, you're in Nigeria, like tap it, you're in Nigeria, low funds, low this, low that, and you really appreciate a scholarship. They're going to grant you a scholarship and you'll be able to get the certificate. But if you don't want to go through all of that and you just want to learn the skills, it's very important. So you can go for courses like, even I personally, I still took one very recently, and I think that was, mathematics or mathematical foundations in bioinformatics. Anything that has to do with computational biology, data science, computation, programming languages from R, just like Chisom said, when you're learning this courses, they really look simple. Any course you take would only teach you the basics. Even the basics are important, right? So yeah, go for the courses, learn them. I think there is also, Harvard has one, maybe Harvard X or something. All of these schools have free courses online. You just need to look for them. I don't have like a link to those courses right now, but Google is your friend. Go to Google, search for free courses I can take. Don't always search for courses for bioinformatics. Check for courses in mathematical foundations in biology, biotech, data science. All of those things are going to bring you, into one overarching goal, which is bioinformatics. Now, mentorship. So, I do not have any established mentorship for anyone. However, several people reach out to me on LinkedIn. My LinkedIn is very open. people that send me connections, I accept all of them. You know, my inbox is open to you. If you have, for anybody that attended this program, like if you have questions for me, you know, if you want to talk briefly over, I think LinkedIn has a short video call you can have. If you want stuff like that, like, you know, according to my schedule, I'm open to teach people, because, you know, even with talks like this are very good, you know, they can help you a lot. But sometimes they leave you with even more questions, like, oh, this, oh, that. So if you have further questions or follow-up questions for me, my LinkedIn is open. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks so much. Thanks. And Mrs. Chisom, I just want to ask these. Can we also follow up with you on LinkedIn? Because I know that there are other questions that we did not actually touch, and I'm sure that people would like to ask, or even ask some other questions that are not in the chat or they've not asked today.
Yeah, my LinkedIn is very, very open. I'm very, very active, so you can reach me anytime, any day. I will always
Thanks so
respond as soon
much.
as I have the opportunity.
Yeah, thanks so much. So we are going to bring the program to an end, and I'm going to hand over to the founder of Bioinforma, which is Tobiola Nipekun. So Tobiola Nipekun, you can come on board.
Hello, everyone. Yeah, not the founder, co-founder, because we are working together in conjunction with other people also. I hope you can hear me. Yes, and thank you very much to everyone for attending. We give thanks to God for the success of this meeting, and thank you all for coming around. It's wonderful to see people and to feel the energy in the room. Thank you to our wonderful speakers, Tomi Jacobs and Chisom Soremekun. This could have never been possible without your amazing insights, sharing your journey in such a platform. It was really, really touching, and I myself am even inspired and reconsidering my pathway also. And thank you to Sefiat for a wonderful moderation. Yeah, it's really great. Yeah, we couldn't have also pulled this off without her. And just to do a sort of formal vote of thanks, I would like to share my screen to acknowledge two other wonderful organizations who were very helpful in putting all of this together. I have here, I'm not sure if I can see it right now. Oh, yeah, here it is. Okay. Yeah, so basically to say thanks to Swiss Africa, which basically is our sort of mother organization where Bioinforma stemmed out from. We are grateful for their support right from the onset in the beginning of this year up until now. And we are also thankful to the collaboration and mentor and the collaboration we received from ArcBio in terms of publicity and marketing for these events. They were really helpful in helping us push out this and gathering you all around. And we are grateful to them. Yeah, and so in rounding up, it has been re-emphasized the importance of, getting your work done and acknowledged and recorded. And in line with that, we would like to give you some hints of some of the things we have upcoming next, which relates to what was mentioned. I think Chisom and Tomi mentioned having a GitHub profile. And if you have been following us on LinkedIn, we've been posting multiple tasks bi-weekly, which we are currently on the 7th task, and very soon we'll be having a mini project which tries to put all of these mini tasks together. And this is an opportunity for you to also have your hands on to do a mini project such that you can also show that you have these skills and you are able to use them and you are able to replicate them, just like how our speakers have talked about today. And these are mini projects. We are planning to have it in a sort of way that it's going to be called in a kind of campaign such that you have to build your project. It's called a build your portfolio campaign where you do this mini project and then you also have it, you are compulsorily advised to open up a GitHub account and have the GitHub project on it, so as you have something to always show and carry around that you also have some skills in bioinformatics, and not just having them, you are able to use them on a project to analyze data and make meaningful biological insights from those data. So yeah, we are really excited about that. It's still in the planning phase, and we'd let you know. Just keep on following us on our LinkedIn profile, and would also like to use this opportunity to also brief you about other social media platforms which we are currently working on to get up, our YouTube and Instagram, and if possible TikTok also. Yeah, so we would also be around on other social media platforms very soon, and we know that we've been active majorly on LinkedIn, but we also like use this opportunity to invite and welcome you to others also, which will be alive soon. Yeah, and with that, I think I have covered all I'm supposed to do. Yeah, so I would say thank you again to Chisom. Thank you to Tomi Jacob. It was really, really insightful, much more than I imagined. And we are grateful for allowing us to have this meeting recorded. We would have it uploaded, probably be the first meeting or video that will be uploaded in our YouTube video soon. You guys should look out for that and wait for the link. Of course, the link will be sent to your emails. And I'm not sure, Odun has not mentioned, there will also be a feedback form, which we would like to also hear back from you. We know there are a lot of questions that which we cannot take for now because of the shortage of time. And though this has been very, very interactive and would not like it to end, but of course, we also have other things to do. Our speakers also have other things to do. So we'll send out the feedback link soon. We'd love for you to fill it and let us know what you feel about this meeting and the further questions that you have. So thank you for coming around once again, and over to you, Odun.
Thanks so much. I actually posted the link to the feedback form in the link, but we will still send it to your emails. So thanks, everyone. We are looking forward to seeing you in our next webinar in 4 months' time. Am I right, Toby?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll communicate that soon.
Okay. So thanks, everyone. Have a lovely evening.
Have a good one, everyone. Thank you.
Bye. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. Yeah.